First contact. The deep space vessel Horizon glided through the vast emptiness, its destination a little-known star system flagged by probes for its unusual energy signatures. Commander Jake Martinez monitored the approach from the bridge, flanked by his diverse crew of specialists. Approaching target coordinates, announced Lieutenant Suresh Nair, his eyes locked on the navigation panel. Prepare for initial scans. Let's see what's out there, Jake replied, his voice steady, reflecting years of command. As the scanning process commenced, Dr. Emily Russo, the mission's chief scientist, peered eagerly over the data streaming onto her screen. There's something odd here. The energy patterns don't match any known natural phenomenon. The crew leaned in, the room humming with anticipation. Suddenly, a soft, rhythmic pulsing interrupted the silence. It wasn't a malfunction. Someone was trying to communicate. Are they signals? Asked Ensign Tomas Reyes, the communications officer. Yes, and they're definitely structured. I'm attempting a decryption now, Tomas responded, fingers flying over his console. The signals resolved into a clear message, and a voice filled the bridge. Unidentified vessel, this is the Tilvian explorer craft, Tranquility. Do you come in peace? Jake stepped forward. This is Commander Jake Martinez of the Earth vessel Horizon. We come in peace. Welcome, Commander Martinez. I am Mira, Captain of the Tranquility. We detected your approach and are pleased to meet you. Let us bridge our worlds with dialogue. Jake exchanged a look of astonishment with his crew before responding. We would be honored, Captain Mira. Shall we arrange a meeting? Yes, please dock at our starboard bay. We await your arrival. As the Horizon maneuvered towards the Tranquility, the crew prepared for the historic encounter. They donned their formal uniforms, each member aware of the gravity of the moment. In the docking bay, Jake led his team out of the Horizon and into the Tranquility, where Mira and her crew awaited. Mira was taller than any human, with iridescent skin that shimmered under the bay lights. Welcome aboard, Commander and esteemed crew, Mira greeted, her voice melodic yet commanding. I trust our first contact proceeds in the spirit of friendship. Absolutely, Jake replied, extending his hand in a gesture of goodwill, an Earth custom. Mira mimicked the gesture, her hand enveloping his. Fascinating. We express goodwill through song. Perhaps later, you will allow us to share it with you. We look forward to that, Jake said, smiling. This is Dr. Emily Russo and Lieutenant Suresh Nair, he introduced, gesturing to his crew who nodded respectfully. Mira introduced her own officers, then suggested, let us tour our vessel. We have much to learn from each other. As they walked through the corridors of the Tranquility, Jake and Mira led the discussion, exchanging information about their technologies, histories, and cultures. The crews observed and interacted, the initial formality giving way to genuine curiosity and enthusiasm. Your propulsion technology is fascinating, Dr. Russo commented, examining an engine model. It's different from anything we've developed. Perhaps a joint research initiative could benefit us both, Mira proposed, clearly pleased. I'd support that, Jake agreed, impressed by the potential for collaboration. There's much we could achieve together. As the tour concluded, Mira and Jake stood looking out at the stars from the Tranquility's observation deck. Commander, I believe this is the beginning of a significant chapter for our civilizations, Mira said, her gaze thoughtful. I share that belief, Captain. Let's set a course for a future built on understanding and cooperation, Jake responded, hopeful for what was to come. The crews returned to their respective ships, minds buzzing with possibilities. The horizon had never looked broader. Chapter 2. The Unseen Conflict. Back aboard the Horizon, the atmosphere was electric with the success of their initial meeting. However, as they journeyed back towards Earth, new orders came through from United Earth Command. In the briefing room, Jake convened his senior officers to discuss the unexpected directives. "Command has been following our logs closely," Jake began, glancing around at his team. "They're particularly interested in the Tilvians' technology and are pushing for an accelerated exchange program." Lieutenant Nair frowned, concern evident in his voice. "That's a rapid shift in policy. Are we sure the Tilvians will be open to this? Our alliance is still in its infancy." Dr. Russo nodded in agreement. "We need to tread carefully. We don't want to appear exploitative, especially not when trust is so fragile." Tomos chimed in from his console. "There's also chatter back home. It seems not everyone is thrilled about our new friends. There's a lot of suspicion and fear about their intentions." Jake sighed, rubbing his temples. "All right, we need a plan that respects our new relationship yet satisfies Command's orders." "Suggestions?" Ensign Reyes suggested. "What if we invite some of the Tilvian scientists to Earth? A cultural and scientific exchange on our turf could ease some of these tensions." "Good idea, Tomos. It shows goodwill and gives us a platform to educate the public about our mutual benefits," Jake replied, warming to the idea. Lieutenant Commander Harris, the ship's engineer, added, "I could organize a symposium. We can showcase joint technological projects. It would be a hands-on way to demonstrate our cooperation." Jake nodded. "Let's set it up. Emily, Suresh, work with Harris on what tech we're prepared to share. Tomos, get me a secure line to Captain Mira. I want to ensure she's on board with this plan and doesn't feel blindsided." As the crew set about their tasks, Jake contacted Mira. The screen flickered to life, showing Myra's composed face. "Commander Martinez, this is a pleasant surprise. To what do I owe the honor?" Jake smiled. "Captain Mira, we've received enthusiastic support from Earth Command to deepen our collaboration. We'd like to invite you and a few of your scientists to Earth for a symposium. It would be a showcase of our shared technologies and cultural exchange." Myra's eyes lit up with interest. "That sounds like a remarkable opportunity, Commander. We are eager to learn more about your people and share our knowledge. When do you envision this taking place?" "We're hoping for as soon as you're able. There's a strong desire back home to understand more about each other," Jake explained. "I will discuss it with my team and get back to you, Commander." "Thank you for this initiative," Mira replied, her tone genuine. With Myra's tentative approval, Jake felt a weight lift off his shoulders. He ended the call and convened with his team again to discuss logistics and public relations strategies. Days later, with preparations in full swing, Jake met with his crew in the Horizons Lounge. "I know this is moving fast, but I believe this symposium could be a turning point for Earth and Tilvian relations. Let's make sure it's a success." Lieutenant Nair clapped Jake on the back. "We've got this, Commander. It's not just about technology. It's about building a future. We'll make sure both our peoples see the benefits." As the Horizon returned to Earth, anticipation buzzed through its halls. The crew was not just returning with tales of the stars, but with the promise of a shared future that could redefine humanity's place in the cosmos. Chapter 3: The Galactic Congress. As Earth prepared for the symposium, an invitation to the Galactic Congress arrived, an event that promised even broader exposure for humanity's fledgling alliance with the Tilvians. The Congress was to be held on Neutralise, a space station renowned for its role as a diplomatic hub. Jake convened his senior officers to strategize their approach. "This is a unique opportunity," he began, addressing his team in the conference room. "Not only to present our partnership with the Tilvians, but also to introduce Earth as a capable member of the galactic community." Lieutenant Nair adjusted his uniform, a look of determination on his face. It's about time Earth had a seat at the table. We need to show that we can be valuable allies. Commander Harris chimed in. Our tech demonstrations at the symposium were well received. Maybe we should develop something even more impressive for the Congress. Dr. Russo nodded in agreement. We could expand on the Joint Energy Project. It's a solid example of practical collaboration that benefits multiple species. Jake appreciated the proactive suggestions. All right, Emily, Harris, you'll spearhead the technical showcase. Tomas, I need you to handle communications. Make sure our intentions are clear and our presentations are impeccable. With their roles defined, the team set to work, preparing their exhibits and speeches. Meanwhile, Jake received another communication from Mira. Commander, my team and I are looking forward to the Congress. It's an honor to stand alongside Earth, she conveyed warmly. The day of departure arrived, and the horizon made its way to Neutralise. The station was a marvel, a vast wheel spinning gently in the void, its interior a mosaic of cultures and species. Upon arrival, Jake and his team were greeted by representatives from various civilizations. The air was thick with a mixture of intrigue and skepticism. It was clear that humanity had much to prove. As they toured the Congress facilities, Jake pulled Lieutenant Nair aside. "Keep your eyes open, Suresh. Not everyone might be as welcoming as they seem." Nair nodded, his gaze sweeping the crowd. "Understood, Commander. We'll stay vigilant." The opening ceremony was a grand affair, with speeches emphasizing peace and cooperation. However, during a break, Jake overheard a snippet of conversation that caught his attention. Two delegates from a distant system were questioning Earth's rapid technological advancements. Sensing a need to address these concerns directly, Jake approached the delegates. "Excuse me, I'm Commander Martinez from Earth. I couldn't help but overhear your concerns. May I offer some clarity about our progress?" The delegates, taken aback by his directness, exchanged glances. One of them, a tall, scaled creature with reflective eyes, responded, "Commander, our concern is the pace of your advancement. It is unusual." Jake smiled diplomatically. "I understand your concerns. That's why we're here, to demonstrate that our advancements are not just for Earth but can benefit all. Our collaboration with the Tilvians is a perfect example." The conversation shifted towards a more constructive dialogue, with Jake explaining Earth's collaborative projects and their potential universal benefits. Later, at a private dinner, Jake and Mira discussed their next steps. "Mira, tomorrow's presentation needs to be flawless. We're making progress, but there's still a lot of ground to cover." Mira nodded, her expression serious. "We will show them that our alliance stands for mutual growth and stability. It's not just about sharing technology, but building a foundation for lasting peace." The next day, Jake and Mira presented their joint initiatives. The audience was captivated by their vision of a cooperative future, and the presentation ended with vigorous applause. As the delegates mingled afterward, many approached Jake and Mira with new interest and respect. The initial skepticism was slowly being replaced by a cautious optimism. As the Congress drew to a close, Jake felt a profound sense of accomplishment. They had not only presented Earth's case effectively, but had also strengthened their bond with the Tilvians. Returning to the horizon, Jake looked out at the stars. The path ahead was still uncertain, but Earth had made its mark on the galactic stage, and the future held limitless possibilities. Chapter 4: A Diplomatic Crisis. The success at the Galactic Congress was short-lived. Back aboard the Horizon, as they prepared for their journey back to Earth, An urgent communication from United Earth Command put everything they had achieved in jeopardy. "Commander Martinez," the voice of General Hawkins crackled over the calm, "we've got a situation. A piece of Tilvian technology was found aboard a freighter heading to a hostile system. It's been traced back to the Congress. Looks like someone's framing us for stealing tech." Jake's stomach tightened. "Understood, General. We'll start an internal investigation immediately." He gathered his senior officers in the conference room. "Listen up," Jake began, setting a tone of urgency. "We've been accused of tech theft. I don't need to tell you how serious this is. I need everyone's eyes and ears open. Anything out of the ordinary, I want to know about it." Lieutenant Nair, his brow furrowed in concern, spoke up. "Could this be an attempt to undermine the alliances we've been building? It's too coincidental that this happens right after our success at the Congress." "You might be onto something," Jake replied. "Tomas, start pulling all communications and logs from the past week. Let's see if we missed anything." Commander Harris suggested, "We should also check the security footage. Whoever planted that tech might have been caught on camera." Jake nodded. "Do it. Emily, you and I will talk to Mira. She needs to know what's happening." Contacting Mira, Jake explained the situation, emphasizing their intention to clear the matter up transparently. Mira expressed her concern but trusted Jake's assurance. "Commander, I know you and your crew. I do not believe you would betray our trust. We will support your investigation from our side." With Myra's backing, Jake felt a slight relief, but the gravity of the situation kept him on edge. As Harris and Tomas conducted their technical investigations, Nair coordinated with Earth's diplomatic channels to mitigate the political fallout. Days into the investigation, Tomas found something. "Commander, you need to see this. We found an anomaly in the security logs. Looks like someone accessed the cargo area during the Congress without proper clearance." Gathering in the security room, the crew watched the footage showing a figure in a hood manipulating a cargo container, the same one later found on the freighter. "There's our suspect," Harris pointed out. "But who are they? And how did they get access?" "We need to find out where this container was headed," Jake decided. "Tomas, can you trace the destination?" "Already on it," Tomas replied. After a few moments of tapping into the shipping manifests, he announced, "Got it. It was headed to the Zoltran system." "The Zoltrans have been pushing against the Galactic Treaty for years," Nair noted. "This could be their way of creating a rift between Earth and the Tilvians." Jake convened a meeting with General Hawkins, sharing their findings. "We believe someone is trying to frame us to destabilize our position in the Galactic Congress and sour our relations with the Tilvians." "Good work, Martinez," the general responded. "Keep on it and find out who's behind this. We can't let them succeed." The next step was to discreetly visit the Zoltran system to gather more evidence. Preparing for the covert mission, Jake briefed his team. "This is off the books, everyone. We need to get in, find out who's behind this, and get out without starting an interstellar incident." As the Horizon stealthily approached the Zoltran system, the tension was palpable. They were not only defending Earth's diplomatic future, but also the very integrity of their burgeoning alliance with the Tilvians. Upon arrival, they conducted covert surveillance and gathered critical intelligence. It wasn't long before they had their breakthrough, uncovering a conspiracy aimed at discrediting Earth and sabotaging the galactic peace. With solid evidence in hand, Jake contacted Mira. "We've got what we need to clear our names and expose the real culprits." Myra's voice was warm yet firm. "This is excellent news, Commander. Let's bring this evidence to the Congress together." As the Horizon set course back to Neutralise, Jake looked around at his crew, proud of their unwavering dedication. They had turned the tide, but the real challenge of confronting their accusers still lay ahead. Chapter 5. Trials of Trust. As the horizon approached Neutralise, Jake and his crew prepared for what would be a pivotal moment in their mission. They had the evidence needed to clear their names and expose the conspiracy, but presenting it effectively to the Galactic Congress required careful planning and diplomacy. "All right, team," Jake started as they gathered in the briefing room, "we've got one shot at this. We need to be precise and persuasive. Suresh, you'll lead the presentation on the conspiracy. Tomas, you handle the communications setup. Make sure our evidence is undeniable." Lieutenant Nair nodded, flipping open his digital notepad. "I've outlined the sequence of events and the connections between the conspirators. It's all here, clear and factual." Commander Harris interjected, "We should anticipate some pushback. Some members of the Congress might still be skeptical or even aligned with the conspirators." Dr. Russo added, "And I'll prepare a supplementary report on the tech involved. It could help substantiate our claims about how the technology was manipulated." Jake appreciated his team's initiative. "Excellent. We also need to coordinate with Mira and her team. Their support will be crucial." Tomas arranged a secure video call with Mira, and she appeared on the screen, resolute and ready. "Commander Martinez, my team has reviewed the evidence you sent. We are with you. How can we assist in your presentation?" "We'd appreciate it if you could speak on the integrity of the technology transfer protocols between our civilizations," Jake suggested. "Your testimony could make a significant impact." "Understood," Mira agreed. "We'll also bring our legal advisors to ensure the proceedings are conducted fairly." With plans set, the crew of the Horizon finalized their preparations. They rehearsed their parts meticulously, understanding the gravity of the accusations they were about to make public. Upon arrival at Neutralise, the atmosphere was tense. News of the upcoming extraordinary session had leaked, and the station buzzed with rumors and speculation. In the grand auditorium of the Congress, delegates from various planetary systems gathered, murmuring among themselves. Jake and his team entered, accompanied by Mira and her entourage, their presence commanding immediate attention. The session began with the President of the Congress, a venerable figure from an ancient and respected civilization, calling the room to order. "We are here to address serious allegations involving members of our Congress. Commander Martinez, you have the floor." Stepping up to the podium, Jake felt the weight of the moment. He introduced Suresh, who methodically presented the timeline and evidence of the conspiracy. The evidence included communications intercepts, financial transactions, and surveillance footage clearly implicating the conspirators in the Zoltran system. As Suresh spoke, the initial murmurs in the hall grew quieter, the gravity of the evidence sinking in. Tomas projected the documents and videos, leaving little room for doubt. Following Suresh, Dr. Russo explained the technological aspects, showing how the stolen tech was intended to be used to create instability between Earth and the Tilvians. Finally, Mira stood, her voice steady and clear. "Ladies and gentlemen of the Congress, as captain of the Tilvian vessel Tranquility, I testify to the integrity and transparency of our dealings with Earth. The allegations against them were crafted to sow distrust among us. We must not allow deceit to guide our decisions." The presentation concluded, and the room erupted into discussions. Some delegates expressed outrage at the deception, others were more cautious, calling for further investigations. The President of the Congress called for calm. "We will adjourn for today and reconvene tomorrow to decide the course of action. Let us reflect on the evidence and seek justice, not division." Back on the horizon, Jake and his team debriefed. "You all did an exceptional job today," Jake commended, a note of pride in his voice. "Now, we wait and hope that the Congress acts on the truth." As they left the briefing room, the crew felt a cautious optimism. They had done everything within their power to defend their honor and protect the fragile peace between their worlds. The next day would determine the future of their interstellar relations. Chapter 6. The Forgotten Rule. The tension aboard the Horizon was palpable. As Jake and his team awaited the Congress's decision, doubts crept in despite their confidence in the evidence. Jake, however, was determined to see this through, no matter the outcome. In the ship's conference room, Jake convened his senior staff. "We've presented a solid case," he began, "but let's not underestimate the politics at play. If the Congress delays or dismisses the matter, we need a contingency." Lieutenant Nair leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. "Commander, there might be a way to force the Congress's hand. I've been digging through their charter and found something unusual, a procedural rule buried deep in their legal framework." Jake raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening." Nair continued, "It's called the Reciprocity Clause. If a party is wrongfully accused and can provide incontrovertible evidence, they have the right to request immediate arbitration. The Congress is required to act within the session." Dr. Russo chimed in. "Why hasn't this been used before?" Nair shrugged. "It's likely been forgotten. The clause is buried in archaic legal jargon. But it's still valid." Jake nodded thoughtfully. "If it's still on the books, we'll use it. Tomos, prepare the clause documentation. Suresh, double-check our evidence. We're leaving no room for doubt." The team dispersed, each member working with precision. Jake, needing to confirm the viability of this strategy, called Mira. "Captain Mira," Jake began when her face appeared on the screen, "we found a rule in the Congress Charter that might help us. It's called the Reciprocity Clause." Myra's eyes widened slightly. "I've heard of it, but it hasn't been invoked in centuries. If your interpretation is correct, it could compel the Congress to act immediately." "It's a risk," Jake admitted, "but it's one we're willing to take." Mira nodded. "I'll consult with my legal advisors. If this is the route you choose, the Tilvian delegation will support you." The next morning, the Congress reconvened. The delegates were restless, their opinions divided. Jake stood, his posture firm, and addressed the assembly. "Madam President, I respectfully invoke the Reciprocity Clause of the Galactic Congress Charter," Jake declared. His words sent a ripple of murmurs through the hall. The President, visibly startled, adjusted her posture. "Commander Martinez, are you certain you wish to invoke this clause? Its implications are significant." "Yes, Madam President," Jake replied, his tone steady. "We have presented irrefutable evidence that Earth has been wrongfully accused, and the Reciprocity Clause entitles us to immediate arbitration." The President exchanged glances with her advisers before addressing the room. "Very well. The clause is valid and binding. This assembly will move to arbitration." The chamber fell silent as the evidence was re-examined. Delegates from neutral parties scrutinized the documents, footage, and technical reports presented by Jake and his team. During the deliberations, Jake and Mira waited in an antechamber. Mira broke the silence. "Commander, invoking the Reciprocity Clause was bold. You've reminded the Congress of the importance of its own principles." Jake smiled faintly. "Bold or desperate, we'll know soon enough." Hours later, the Congress delivered its verdict. The President returned to the podium, her expression solemn. "After thorough examination, this assembly finds the accusations against Earth to be baseless. The evidence implicates members of the Zoltran delegation in a conspiracy to destabilize interstellar relations. Appropriate measures will be taken to address their actions." The room erupted in reactions, ranging from applause to hushed disbelief. Jake let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding, his relief mirrored by his team. Mira turned to Jake, her voice filled with quiet pride. "You've done more than clear your name, Commander. You've reminded the galaxy what unity can achieve." As Jake and his team left the chamber, he reflected on the victory. The reciprocity clause had not only cleared Earth's name but also strengthened its standing in the Galactic Congress. Yet Jake knew this was just the beginning. There was still much work to do to solidify Earth's place among the stars. Chapter 7. Humanity's Stand. The news of Earth's exoneration spread quickly through Neutralise, but the celebration was short-lived. Jake and his team knew that exposing the conspiracy was only part of the battle. They needed to solidify Earth's reputation as a valuable and trustworthy member of the Galactic Congress. In the Horizons briefing room, Jake gathered his senior officers. "The Congress cleared us, but we're not done yet. Earth's standing is still fragile. We need to take this opportunity to show them what we can bring to the table." Lieutenant Nair tapped his stylus against a data pad. "Commander, the presentation on joint Tilvian Earth projects could be expanded. We have enough data to demonstrate real progress, something they can't ignore." Dr. Russo added, "And we could include projections on how these projects could benefit other civilizations. If we make it about the galaxy as a whole, it's a stronger argument." Jake nodded. "Good. Emily, Suresh, start working on that. Harris, I want you to present our energy integration tech. It's one of the most promising things we've developed." Tomas Reyes spoke up from the comms station. "We should also address the cultural aspect. A lot of the skepticism comes from fear of the unknown. If we show them who we are, our values, our willingness to collaborate, it could shift perceptions." "Agreed," Jake replied. "Let's make it personal. Include stories from the crew about what this mission has meant to them." The team dispersed, each member diving into their tasks. Jake, however, had one more matter to address. He called Mira to discuss the presentation. Myra's holographic image flickered to life. "Commander Martinez, how can I assist?" Jake smiled. "We're expanding our presentation for the Congress. I'd like you to co-present with me. Your perspective as a Tilvian would carry weight." Mira inclined her head thoughtfully. "It would be an honor. Collaboration has been at the heart of this journey, after all." "Exactly," Jake agreed. "Let's show them what that collaboration looks like." The following day, the Congress convened for the final session. The atmosphere in the Grand Hall was different this time. Less tension, more curiosity. Jake and Mira stood together at the podium, their partnership symbolic of the message they wanted to convey. Jake began, his voice steady and clear. "Distinguished delegates, the events of the past days have tested not only Earth's integrity but also the values we all hold dear. Today, we want to show you what we've achieved together, not as individual worlds, but as partners." Mira stepped forward. "Through collaboration, we have made strides in energy efficiency, resource distribution, and interstellar travel. These projects are not just beneficial for Earth or Tilvia, but for all of us." The presentation unfolded, highlighting advancements in energy integration, ecological restoration, and sustainable mining practices. Harris demonstrated the technical aspects with precision, while Dr. Russo shared projections showing how these innovations could be adapted by other civilizations. As they spoke, the room remained silent, the delegates engrossed in the possibilities laid before them. Then Tomas took the stage, bringing a human touch to the presentation. "This mission has shown me something I never expected," he began. "That even in the vastness of space, connections matter. Learning from the Tilvians, working alongside them, it's changed how I see the universe and our place in it. The personal stories resonated with the audience, drawing nods and even a few smiles. When Mira spoke of her experiences with Jake and the crew, her words carried sincerity. In our differences, we have found common ground. And in that, we've discovered a strength neither of us could have achieved alone. As the presentation concluded, Jake looked out at the assembly. This is just the beginning. Together, we can face challenges we couldn't overcome alone. Earth is ready to contribute to a shared future. The room erupted in applause. Delegates from various worlds approached Jake and Mira afterward, expressing interest in the projects and admiration for their collaboration. Later, back on the horizon, the crew gathered in the observation deck, watching Neutralise shrink into the distance. Jake stood with Mira, a quiet satisfaction settling over him. "You did well today, Commander," Mira said, her tone warm. "Earth's place in the galaxy feels more secure because of it." Jake turned to her, a small smile playing on his lips. "We did this together. And this is just the start." As the stars stretched endlessly before them, the partnership between Earth and Tilvaya stood as a testament to what could be achieved when trust and cooperation prevailed over fear and division. Chapter 8. A New Dawn. The horizon drifted silently through space, its mission complete but its purpose far from over. Jake stood on the bridge, gazing out at the stars, his thoughts turning to the road ahead. Earth's name had been cleared, alliances forged, but challenges remained. Lieutenant Nair approached, data pad in hand. "Commander, the final communications from Neutralise just came in. Several systems are expressing interest in formal partnerships with Earth." Jake turned, a small smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "That's progress. Compile a list of their proposals. We'll present them to Command once we're back." As Nair nodded and walked off, Mira entered the bridge, her presence as commanding as always. "Commander Martinez, I've just received confirmation from my delegation. The Tilvian Council has approved the expansion of our joint projects." "That's great news," Jake said, his tone warm. "It feels like we're finally moving past the mistrust." Mira joined him by the viewport, her gaze fixed on the stars. "It's a beginning. But true change takes time. Today's success must be followed by consistent effort." Jake glanced at her, appreciating her steady resolve. "And we'll keep at it. Together." In the days that followed, the Horizon hosted joint meetings between Earth and Tilvian representatives. The ship became a hub of collaboration, with scientists and diplomats working side by side. Harris led a tour of the engineering bay, proudly showcasing Earth's contributions to the Energy Integration Project. "Commander Harris," Mira said, examining one of the prototypes, "your team's work here is impressive. It complements our own advancements in ways I hadn't anticipated." Harris grinned. "High praise coming from you, Captain. It's been a privilege to work with your scientists. They've pushed us to think differently." As the teams dispersed to their respective tasks, Jake and Mira retreated to the observation deck. The quiet hum of the ship provided a soothing backdrop to their conversation. "You've built something remarkable here, Jake," Mira said, her voice soft. "Not just the technology, but the trust between our people. It's rare." Jake leaned against the railing, his expression thoughtful. "It hasn't been easy. There were moments I thought we'd lost everything. But you've been there every step of the way." Mira tilted her head, her gaze meeting his. "As have you. Our success is as much yours as it is mine." For a moment, they simply stood there, the vastness of space stretching out before them. Jake turned to her, a smile breaking through his usual stoic demeanor. "You know, I think this is the first time I've felt like we're part of something bigger. Something that matters." Mira reached out, her hand lightly brushing his arm. "We are," Jake. And it's just the beginning. The Horizon's final stop before returning to Earth was a Tilvian colony on the edge of explored space. Jake and Mira led a small team to deliver the first prototypes of their joint energy project. The colony's inhabitants, a mix of Tilvians and other species, greeted them warmly. One of the colony leaders, a Tilvian named Lerex, guided them through the settlement. "This project will change lives here," Lerex said, his voice tinged with emotion. "Our people have struggled with limited resources for generations. What you've brought us is more than technology. It's opportunity." Jake nodded. "We're glad to help. This is what collaboration is about, finding ways to support each other." Later, as they watched the energy systems being installed, Jake and Mira found themselves standing apart from the others. The colony was bustling with activity, but the moment felt intimate. "You've done it again," Mira said, her voice carrying a hint of amusement. "Done what?" Jake asked, turning to her. "Proved that humanity's potential lies not just in its ambition, but in its ability to connect," Mira replied. Jake chuckled softly. "And here I thought I was just doing my job." "You're doing far more than that, Jake," Mira said, her tone sincere. "You're building bridges that will last generations." Jake hesitated, then reached out, his hand lightly brushing hers. "I couldn't have done it without you, Mira. You've taught me as much as I've taught you." Mira didn't pull away. Instead, she turned her hand, their fingers interlacing. "Then let us continue teaching each other." Back aboard the Horizon, the crew prepared for the journey home. In the observation deck, Jake and Mira shared a quiet moment, reflecting on all they had accomplished. "So, what's next for you?" Jake asked, his gaze fixed on the stars. Mira smiled. "There's still much work to be done, but I think I'll stay involved in these projects for a while longer. There's a lot we can still achieve." Jake looked at her, a sense of gratitude and something deeper stirring within him. "I'm glad to hear that. I'd hate to think this was the end of our partnership." "It's far from the end," Mira said, her voice soft but certain. "It's only the beginning." As the stars stretched out before them, Jake and Mira knew they were charting a course not just for their people, but for the future of the galaxy. Together, they stood ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.